Do 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 do. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Oh. Mr. White Bank says Steven's gonna sell something this morning. This is really good music for that. Which wife is this? This is the OG.
What's it gonna take to get you into this new Honda Civic today?
Now, what's it gonna take to get you into this new Honda Civic? We have a 2024 Honda Civic.
Ow.
All the trim.
I scratched my foot yesterday.
Baby blue.
I broke the skin.
The Honda Civic would never scratch you. It would never break your skin.
Never.
The Honda Civic actually can't hurt you. It's impossible. God himself could not sink this Honda Civic. Hi. Is it a half a car? Let's have a snack.
Enjoy the neck-watering goodness of Tiny Eddie's Bubbly Jackal Wafers.
Man, my neck's watering just thinking about it. 1050 from Nice says, hey Eddie, I'm moving next week. What snack should I pick up at the grocery store? If you're moving, you need Bubbly Jackal Wafers. You'll be able to taste the excitement that the jackal had before it died. Because the jackal was all bubbly. Make your neck wet with wafers. Morning, everybody. We had a great weekend. I'm speaking for both of us a little bit, but I'm willing to say that we had a great weekend.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like we did.
We did.
Because, I mean, for one, you're back.
Uh-huh.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. Haley says, did we? We did! We did. We also played a video game for leisure, which is not...
You played a couple for leisure. On Saturday, you played a video
yeah,
game.
I actually... Oh my god, I played several hours of video games for leisure this weekend. Mm-hmm. I actually... Is that legal? I don't know. I've been trying just in general to work a little bit less on weekends.
Vagabond says, that's illegal. You can't do that in this household.
I've been trying to work a little bit less on weekends, and this is one of the rare times where, like, the weekend itself, like Saturday and Sunday, I didn't work at all.
Yep.
Like, I didn't sit down at my computer to edit, like, at all. So that was kind of nice. It was kind of a nice little... I mean, we recorded games on Saturday night, but that doesn't feel like work, so... Yeah, I also lent Haley Metroid Prime Remastered, so she could play it. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit about what we played, because I've got some nice things to say about some video games. But first, let's read some alerts. We got 58 months from A Synthetic 20. Subscription from Pindy for Life and Regretty Spaghetti.
Welcome to both of you.
Welcome to both of you. 59 months from Mech Mayhem. OJ Hat gifted a sub to Kiwi Lescipio. We've got... Sorry, there were some tests in the alert system. Did y'all know that we're doing another stream today? We're doing another stream. If you didn't catch it on Friday, we are going to be playing Pikmin 4 today at 1 p.m. Eastern. That is 4 hours from now. Mao and I are actually going to be doing Pikmin 4. So, if you're like, ooh, Pikmin 4, well, guess what? So that's today. That's in 4 hours. It's also our... That's a big deal because it's our first time adding a second game... Well...
We gotta get through Pikmin
cooperative
somehow.
game stream.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because, like, we want to keep playing Zelda, but we're like, we don't want Zelda to take 5 years. So we're doing both. So yeah, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be planning on doing Pikmin. Should be fun. Let's see, where were we? We had 57 months from Ryan BO6. Vegetable Sorbet gifted 3 subs to The Rose 983, Owari Sun, and Gokai Yellow. Vegetable, thank you. We had 9 months from Belladonna Prince. 45 months from Twitchy Toes. 42 from Layla 3. 57 months from Dark Overlord. 56 from Mr. Viperfang. 45 from NG Ben. And he gifted a sub to Galaxy Jello Bear. We had 24 months from Sharkstole. That's a 2. Coffee's real good today. Why?
I don't know.
I just wanted it.
It's real good for me because I got less than 5 hours of sleep.
Why did you get less than 5 hours of sleep?
I couldn't sleep, and so I tossed and turned for a long time, and then I read for like 3 hours, and then I slept for like 3 hours.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in this boat this morning. Was it a good book? Yeah.
Renee, I'm still in bed. I mean, I slept...
Haley says go to bed.
Well. Okay, but I need a co-host. When I don't have a co-host, then it's just like my hand. It's not quite the same. We had 41 months from Shadowlance, 58 months from Anorak Dovahkiin, 33 from Full Metal Grizz, 37 from Elfie Goldfish, 21 from Zach Lumberjack, 52 from Wildfire, 59 from Spiffla, 10 from Portalbeard, 56 from Missing No Leader, 48 from Icy Patterns. Congrats on the 4. 4 months from Strawberry Hearts, 34 from Empire Builder, 25 from Liberty KJ, 10 months from Joe the Historian Gamer. Drinda from Aldo says, this is a test of the automated clown delivery system. This is only a test. At the chime, this message will repeat. Sometimes clowns just show up and they're automated. Drinda from Slick Duke says, it's nice to be back after a great week of vacationing in Maine. Although I had the fun news of finding out I needed a new water heater right before leaving. It's fine. I'm sorry. I guess the only solace there is that maybe you wind up with like a better water heater than you had.
Hopefully?
Maybe. I don't know much about water heater technology. I know that they can be larger. I presume that they can also be like somehow more efficient.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. But I hope you had fun in Maine. Because Maine is a beautiful place.
When
it's
I was
a very
in
unique
Wisconsin,
place.
I was talking to family about how I would like to go back to Maine when it's not freezing.
Yeah.
I've been twice. One time was freezing.
And one time was with me.
No, that was the freezing time.
Oh. Well, I liked it. It was cold.
It was very cold.
But it was neat. It was neat to see Maine. At some point, we'll go back. I think.
There's an art museum I want to see.
Just in general, we haven't really given a whole lot of thought about like travel as a concept in a while, and it's because we spent a great deal of time moving to North Carolina and then moving again in North Carolina.
That's true.
And that really takes out.
And then all of our friends moving.
Yeah, nothing takes the wind out of your sails for travel more than traveling into a home. I'm like, I don't want to do anything. But eventually that'll change.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anise, that's right. That was when we took Josh back to his home. And that was fun, because we got to meet his brother
and his
mom and the goats. And then, you know, it was earlier this year, that his brother came to visit and then his mom came to visit. So we've met all of them twice now. We had 59 months from Marvel 410, 33 from The Great Perhaps. 300 bits of Belladonna Prince says, I just started playing Pikmin 4 yesterday. It is a lot of fun. It really picks up after the second day.
Good.
That's exciting, because that's that's where we're at. We finished day 2.
Yeah.
Mal played day 1. I played day 2. And today when we start, Mal will be starting playing day 3. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little nervous about what monsters could lay in store, but
we'll figure it out.
It's probably fine. Oh, we got we have a lyrics. We have a lyric. Hold on now. Let me just. We have the Mario TV mashup song. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. Here, have a 6-second song. Perfect. 300 from Formula Grid says, now for the age-old question. What came first, the pears or the pork? No one will ever know. I think it's pears.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, a scientist, but I'm pretty sure on that one. And 400 bits from Chrissy G says, so a few weeks back, Tiny Eddie shared a treat that actually sounded tasty, so we made it. The lemon butterscotch scones turned out amazing and are being enjoyed right meow. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's every once in a while.
It can happen.
It can happen. You can be given an idea of like, oh, wait, this could work. You just have to like sift through like rhino chunks and goldfish tartare or whatever in order to get to it. Anyway, thank you all. Got through the alerts. Want to talk a little bit briefly about the game that we spent the weekend playing. It's a game that Mal and I had... It's a game that I first 20'd. And then it was a game that Mal and I had started to play a year, 2 years ago. And we were playing it once a week. And then we missed a week. And we were like...
Forgot everything.
We forgot everything and we're like, ah, crap. And that game is Return of the Oberdin. And Return of the Oberdin...
Morning, Chelsea.
Hey, Chelsea. 6 months from Chelsea. Thank you. Return of the Oberdin, having now finished it. Yeah, we called it a masterpiece when we finished it last night. It is so good. Very rarely does a video game come along that is that unique and that good and that satisfying to play. It is exceptional. It is absolutely exceptional. And we started playing it on Sunday, because on Saturday we played some. I played a few games for leisure. Yes, on Saturday we played some games for leisure. I played through the entirety of Donkey Kong Country, and I played about half of Kirby's Dream Course. That was fun. And then we were like, oh, you know what we should do is on Sunday we should play Oberdin. So we played about half of Oberdin on Sunday, and then we played about half of it last night. And I think our total play time was 7 hours.
Sounds right.
So it's not exceptionally long. My recommendation would be to play with a group of people if you can, because it will make the game easier. It's not that you can't play it with one person, but it's probably going to take you a little bit longer, because there's a lot of things to think about. It's a game...
And Vince is keeping track of all that info. Yeah.
It is a game that you want physical notes for. Like, you want a piece of paper and a pen. And, like, for some folks, that idea is, like, really exciting. And for other people, they're like, oh my god, I don't want to do that. So, like, that'll quickly tell you what you're into. Like, if that sounds like not appealing at all, like, I don't know that I would recommend the game. But if you're like, that sounds amazing. Like, we had to Google things. Like, there was dialogue in the game that used words that we weren't familiar with, and we had to Google words to figure out, like, what nationality the words were, so we knew which nationality of the person they came from. It was really cool. So as a quick, like, overview of what this game is, Return to the Oberdin is without spoiling it, obviously. Return to the Oberdin is a game where you play a insurance claims adjuster, whatever they call them. There is a ship that has floated into the English harbor, and all of the crew are either dead or gone. And
it's a ghost ship.
It's a ghost ship, and you have to figure out what happened to each of the 60 crew members. And
Haley says you get to decide who gets an insurance payout. It's riveting.
And how this works is that you go onto the ship and you have a pocket watch, which will show you the exact moment when the person died. So, like, at the very beginning, like, there's the first scene in the game is you hear this dialogue of, like, you know, Captain, open up. And then the other person says, you know, I'll open up and I'll give you a bullet. And then you immediately jump into this 3-dimensional scene. There's no animation in the game. Like there's 3D scenes that are rendered because this was all made by like one person. It's made by Lucas Pope, by the way. You may know Lucas Pope is the person that made Papers, Please. This is the person that made Papers, Please. This is like their next major game. Is Oberdin. And so then you get to walk around these 3D spaces and look at how this person died, and then it comes up and it's like, who is this person? How did they die? And figuring out how they died is usually pretty easy because it's like, well, this guy was shot. But like, who are they? You have no idea. And then you have to like slowly discern from like conversations, from
clues,
from environmental clues. Yeah. Like there was one part where
like process of elimination.
Yeah. It was real cool. It was real cool. So if you're looking for something, if you like detective stuff, especially if you have a group of friends that would be willing to like sit around and like play through this with you, like I don't think I've ever played a game quite like Oberdin. I just really had a lot of good things to say about it. But yeah, it was much easier to play it with 4 people instead of just the 2 of us. And
Haley was especially like seeing things and pointing them out.
Haley was really good at the environmental stuff.
And Alex knew a lot of history.
Yeah.
And was able to provide some context or be like, well, this is kind of like this thing.
Yeah. So it's good. It's real good. I highly recommend it. It's one of the games that made me feel like, I don't know a video game has ever made me feel as smart as Oberdin did. Like getting stuff right in Oberdin, I'm just like, I'm a genius. And yeah, that was. I recommend it. Anyway, that's my spiel. It's a great game.
Chelsea says the little tune when you figure it out is so satisfying.
Yeah.
We were saying that the screen that comes up that's like, well done. We were like, ah.
Haley said seeing that screen that says well done was better than getting a college degree. It's like every time it came up, she's like, this is like getting another college degree. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling. It makes you feel very smart. So, yeah, very rarely do I have that many good things to say about a video game, but it is that good, it is that unique, and I really enjoyed playing through it. I mean, it is on Switch. Actually, so I have a physical version of it. One of the cool things, and you don't need this, but one of the cool things about the physical version of the Switch game is that it comes with a manual, and that the manual has
a passenger list.
It has the passenger list. It has the sketches and stuff. Like, these are things that you're going to have to constantly reference, like, in the game. And you can reference them in the game, but it's really nice to have a physical thing. Bless you. So, like, that you can reference. So, yeah, I don't even know if you can get the physical version in it. I think they have it at the store.
At Limited Run?
At Limited Run, but I don't know if you can order it. I don't know if it was a numbered exclusive or if it's like a readily available thing. Anyway, you could print it out, but...
Yeah.
Cool. Vagabond says it's currently on sale for $12 on Humble. It is worth $12. Certainly worth $12. It's great. It's super, super great. There's no replay value to it, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, once you've solved it, like, you're not going to be able to play it again. But not every game has to have replay value. Because it's a game I'm going to be thinking about, like, for a long time. Alright, we had 13 months from That Tall Nerd 560. 300 Bits of Ninja, who says, hearing the game I sent you through Jam, thanks Jam, is one you played and finished just for fun is the highest compliment. Glad you enjoyed it. It's great. So I had played...
the first 20.
I had played the first 20. And that was the PC version. I played the first 20, and I really liked it, and then I didn't think about it for a few years. Played it with Mao.
Chaz has the Humble link.
Yeah, Chaz has got the Humble link if you want to pick up Oberdin and also support us in the process. Thanks. Yeah, we played it on PC, and the biggest problem we ran into is that like going a week between was a little difficult.
Yeah.
If this is a game that you choose to play, you probably want to play it like
Pretty quick.
Late. Yeah.
Like on Sunday when we played a bunch of it, there was a point where I was like, I want to go get a snack, so I went to the gas station, and I came back and I was like, shoot, what was going on?
Yeah, man, I was gone for like 20 minutes and was like, all right, so who is this? And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information you're holding in your head.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, Ninji, thank you for initially exposing me to the game. And then at some point I picked up a physical copy because I liked the game that much and was like, I'll play this at some point. And having that physical copy made it even easier to move around and play, because then we could take it over to Alex and Haley's on the Switch. So sleeping in between sessions was a mistake. Yeah, it's good though. The saddest thing about it is beating it, because I'm like, there's no more. Oh no, it's fine. We had 300 bits from Shy says difficult vocabulary checks like thermodynamics. I've had sleep. I can speak words today. Twitchy Toes, another vocabulary check. Acclimated. Acclimated is actually not the hard word.
Not the word.
That's not the word I struggled with. The word I struggled with...
Acclimatized?
Yeah, I think it should be pronounced...
Acclimatized?
Acclimatized. Acclimatized. I've had some sleep. I'm pausing before I say words. Got it. We had 15 months from KA Gamer Kyle, 31 months from Meg the Kid, 39 from Gamer Girl Life, and 35 from the Super Thingamabob. Thank you all. Raw whole bird. So today, again, as a reminder, at 1 p.m. we are playing Pikmin. We've got some Pikmin alerts, because when we played... is the AHA here?
Yeah, they just...
Hey! Morning. When we played Pikmin on Friday, we did that because it's Pikmin's release date. But we had Zelda alerts on. Now that we're separating the streams out, they can have their own...
Themed alerts.
Their own themed alerts. I actually haven't seen them yet.
Nope.
I haven't seen them yet. Chaz told me they were done. And then this morning they were in the queue, but I was looking at them live, so I was like, and I skipped past them, so I'll have to take a look at them. And I have a Pikmin countdown screen and stuff, so it'll feel a little more special. Yeah. I'm very excited about playing more Pikmin.
Me too.
I'm very, very much looking forward to it. The game also looks so good. Like, it's a beautiful game. We were talking about it on Friday, but one of the key things that has always made the Pikmin games look so good is just the texture work, and same thing in this one. It's very impressive. We got 300 bits of Shy. It says iconic and satisfying victory quotes: nightmare slain, victory achieved, enemy felled, god slain, and of course, well done. 3 fates correct.
It's like approval from the parental figure. Well done.
Yeah, there was some, like, there's some information in the game that, like, it's partial information. Like, you have to...
Take some logic leaps.
You have to take some logic leaps. But part of that is fun. Like, there were times where so you, I could just keep coming back to Oberdin because I enjoyed it so much.
We can talk about Wisconsin, too.
Okay. In Oberdin, you have to, you get your guesses 3 at a time. So, like, you put in information, and if you get 3 things right, it'll tell you got those 3 things right.
If you don't have 3 things right, it won't tell you.
Yeah, you can't brute force your way through the game by just constantly changing. Well, is it this person? Is it this person? Is it this person? You can't do that, because you have to have 3 different people correct. And that's way too much information to try and guess.
Yeah.
So, there will be times where we'd have one person that we're like, we know this is right. And then we'd have 2 people that we knew how they died, and we had, like, their names, like, there was a time where it was, like, 2 Russians. And we're like, we know that these are the Russians. We just don't know which Russian is which. So, like, we had this information, and we put in their names, and like nothing happened, and we're like, swap them. So then we swapped their names, and then all of a sudden it comes up and it's like, well done. And I'm like, yeah, these guys are Russian. We knew that. It's fun. It's so fun. I feel like I learned so much. Yeah, you could talk about Wisconsin.
I was in Wisconsin.
You were in Wisconsin.
For 8 days.
When did you get back?
Thursday late.
Okay,
like
so
2
this is your
a.m.,
this is
remember?
your
like 1.
This is
This is the first breakfast stream I've
this
been
is
back.
your first breakfast stream since you've
Yeah.
been back. So welcome back.
Thanks.
So I know that you filmed some things in
I
Wisconsin.
did film some things. I didn't give great context at the beginning of my trip. There was a whole thing. It was difficult.
I mean, you say at the beginning of your trip. I don't know
I
that
did
you
better near the end.
Did you?
I did. I talk. I didn't talk in some of the beginning clips.
Yeah, let me give you an example of what's coming up on the vlog. So I released July 12th yesterday, which is where
the day I flew to Wisconsin.
Which is where Mal leaves. So starting on the 13th, Mal shot some footage of things. And I looked through I just got the footage off of her phone last night, and I was looking through it, and I realized that there's exceedingly little context for the things that you shot.
Yeah.
And because I have no idea what Mal is doing, I can't give context. So for an entire week, there's just going to be clips that are intercut with what I'm shooting of just things or people, and just like no context given whatsoever. Like at some point, like you went to a festival.
Yeah, I went to a festival.
And there's no...
I didn't explain the festival.
Mal didn't explain she was
why
going.
I was there.
Mal didn't explain who she was with. Mal didn't explain what she was doing there.
Like, there's a band there, and like...
Nothing. And I'm
like... by proxy, I know someone in the band, and I don't say that.
And like... I'm looking through this footage, and I was like...
Great.
I was like, what am I supposed to do? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like... I was like, I'm glad that you shot something.
So let me talk about some of the things I did. It'll give a little context, and then when you do the vlog, just be like, hey, what was this? And I can be like, oh, this is when I went to this thing.
I love how I'm gonna basically have to subtitle everything you shot in order to explain what's happening, because otherwise people will be like, what's going? The other thing is that without any sort of like visual indication, it may not even be clear that it's your footage.
Well, then just put all of mine at the end or something.
I was telling Mal last night what I might do is I might have a particular song that plays.
And then it goes into my video.
So anytime like then you just know that you're watching Mal's footage, and then whenever it stops, it's back to it. Because like I just think back to and you did good. Thank you for shooting. Thank you for shooting footage.
Welcome.
But I think back to whenever we went to Japan, and like I didn't even instruct Jeff to like shoot an entire vlog's worth of vlog stuff. I was just like, hey, if you shoot stuff, I'll use it. And he was like, okay. And like Jeff became like a producer. Like those Japan vlogs are so cool. I think largely in part due to the fact that like I'll cut to like what like Chaz and Jeff are up to. And it's very cool. It's actually one of my favorite things about that trip. And I hope that if we get a chance to do another trip in the future and Jeff is there, that Jeff would be willing to shoot more stuff, because that was very fun for me to edit, because I didn't even know what I was going to get. I'm like sitting down, I'm like, ooh, okay, and then I have to like put the pieces together and figure out where it goes chronologically. Like that was super fun. Anyway, this isn't that. So this is just like something's happening, and I'll have to explain. So why don't you talk a little bit about Wisconsin?
So it's actually fun because Brandon is in my footage.
Yeah, that's true. And that's actually going to be probably the weirdest thing.
It was weird.
Because Brandon appears before there is context for Brandon appearing. Is that Brandon actually was in Wisconsin.
He was nearby for work, and I was like, hey, you want to get dinner? And he's like, sure. So he drove up to my dad's house, and we had dinner.
Yeah.
He pulled into the driveway, their big circle drive.
Yeah.
And I went out to meet him because I didn't know if he'd know where to park with their house. And he's like, it's really weird to be here. I was like, well, it's weird to see you at this house.
Yeah.
So we had a great
Brandon
time.
is always there.
We explained what Riz meant to my dad and Rhonda. That's not on the vlog because we were at a restaurant and it was difficult to film at the restaurant.
I like that. In that context, it sounds like...
And then we had to explain no cap.
In that context, it sounds like Mark and Rhonda are explaining what Riz meant to them.
Oh, no. We explained Riz, and then...
Well, I tell you one thing, what Riz means to me as a person...
And then Brandon used no cap, and then we had to explain that. And then the server came up, and we were at a nice restaurant, and my dad and Rhonda were asking the server, they're like, well, do you know what Riz and no cap means? And then the server was like, oh yeah, of course, because she's younger than me, and she says it. And then my dad's like, wow.
I don't understand Riz. Juliet tried to explain, because Juliet used it in a short title, and that was when me and Chaz were like, what is Riz? And like, they explained it, but I don't think I remember. Riz is like style. Riz is like your game. It's charisma.
Literally short for charisma.
It's charisma. That's helpful. That's helpful. It's just charisma. So Grit Jones has a lot of Riz. Should have named him Riz Jones.
So yeah, that happened. After that, I went up to visit my mom and some of her family in Appleton. And it was really cool and ironic that after I thought about doing all this, I checked with Carly, and Carly's like, oh, I'm going to be in Appleton. And I'm like, great. Get to see you. And she was going to the festival I'll talk about in a second. But
also, I just want to point out, hold on, who said this? Micro X Rosa says, ooh, charisma. That makes sense. That's where the Riz comes from. Ah! Okay, I'll probably remember that forever now. Charisma. Got it. All right. Go ahead.
Anyway, so Carly was going to be in town. I'm like, great, I get to see you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Stephanie and Steve are going to be in Wisconsin at some point this summer. When was that? So I messaged Steph, and I was like, hey, when are you going? And she goes, oh, we leave on this day. And it was like the Tuesday after I was going to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you're going to be there when I'm there. So it was great. And then I messaged my friend Nicole, and I was like, just chatting with Nicole, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to Wisconsin and see people. And she's like, I'm going to be in Wisconsin. And I was like, when? And she got in the Thursday that, like, right after I was there, so, like, our trips barely overlapped.
Yeah.
Like, Steph and Steve's and Nicole's were, like, barely overlapping, and then mine was right in the middle. So, and Lindsay lives there now.
Yeah.
So the four of us girls were, like, friends in high school, and the four of us got to hang out.
And there is footage of the four of you
We got
together.
Brunch on Saturday
Yeah.
at a coffee shop and went for a walk.
And you went to the music festival.
Nicole didn't go to the festival. It's not a music festival. It's so we went to
I wouldn't know. There was no
explain it.
context given for anything.
So we went to Paper Fest, which is a festival that happens, it's like a summer festival that happens in Kimberly, Wisconsin, because the paper mill is there. And like Kimberly Clark Kimberly Clark makes paper, and it's Kimberly, Wisconsin, and it's like Paper Fest.
Yeah.
It'd be like going to the Blue Crab Festival in Myrtle Beach, because like the blue crabs are there.
Yeah.
And paper is in Wisconsin.
Crabs Fest.
But it had like, there was like 5 different music stages and like fair rides and like Wisconsin foods. I had a brat.
I hope.
It was a really good brat.
That's
and,
that's the place.
Because it's Wisconsin, there was of course lots of alcohol. I don't know. We went, and one of Carly's friends' husbands was playing in a band that they were playing like 90s covers.
Okay.
And so like I knew him by proxy, and he was in one of the bands playing, so we listened to them for a while, and then we hung out on Stephanie's parents' back porch and just like gossiped for hours and hours.
Okay.
And then, and then Carly came with me to my dad's house, because that wasn't originally in her plan, but she wanted to hang out.
Yeah.
So, we went down there and hung out, saw my grandma, which was great, because she's 94. So I got to see her for a little bit, saw some of my dad's family, and just kind of hung out down there. And the weather was beautiful. I sat outside on the back porch, like, most of the time in Milwaukee. my dad's house.
That's nice.
Yeah. I got to go to the domes, the Mitchell Park domes, which are one of my favorite places on the entire planet. We went with you. We took you at one Christmas.
Yeah, I went early on when we were dating.
And the city's talking about demolishing at least 2 of them. So that's sad, but like I got to go see them. And I filmed a lot that day.
Yeah.
I talk on that day. I just don't film my face.
Mallory, for the entirety of the trip, never films her face.
Yeah.
Because I went through all of her footage last night. I was like, one thing that's really interesting? She's like, what's that? I was like, you never film yourself once. I was like, in all of this footage. And she goes,
huh.
Yeah.
Guess so.
And I was like, anyway, I'm excited to cut the vlogs together, but they honest to God could be harder than ever to cut because I'm going to have to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
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 Love it. I love it when I'm behind and things make it even
I got to
harder.
go to Woodman's. I found a big bag of little donuts. I filmed that. Don't worry.
Just so much footage. So much footage with no context that I have to figure out how to give context to. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to decide if I'm going to give no context and be like, screw it, I don't have time for this. Or if I'm going to go through and try and put text. Because if I do text, I could maybe explain what's happening. But if I do that, it's going to take so much longer because I'm going to have to, like, figure out... Mm-hmm. I have to ask you what's going on and then... Mm-hmm. Word it in a way that people can understand. Yeah. So we'll see. I thought that vlogs would be caught up in July, and they won't. They definitely won't. We're looking at August. Or I could just come up with my own context.
I do talk in some of them. I just don't point it at my face. So I'm like, I'm here at Cops and I'm having custard.
Yeah. Yeah, Mal does give context, but it's not for the second half of the trip.
Not for the first half. I didn't.
The first half of the trip has no, and that's also where like your friends are and like Paper Fest and stuff like that. So I haven't started cutting it yet. I'll start cutting it.
Listen,
today.
The Appleton part of the trip was a whole thing.
Yeah, it'll work. Like these vlogs will exist.
Yeah,
it would be fun to do voiceover, but that takes even longer. So
yeah.
Alex, you're overthinking it, pal. No need to Jeff it. You haven't seen the footage. We get 300 bits from Omega the Kid. Says, maybe we in the Steven community should come up with our own slang. That way everyone else will be confused and you'll be in the know. I think we probably have some slang. Like, I can't think of anything right now. It's the morning. But I'm sure that we probably have something. Clowns. Crunch actually is a good one.
Searle.
Crunch and Searle are good ones. People know what crunch just means that the stream's starting. That's what crunch means. Tortilbo.
That's an Alexism.
Yeah, but we can.
Yeah, we kind of did.
We adopt it.
Yeah, it's Tortilbo now.
It's Tortilbo now.
Uh-huh.
We can't do it. Alex, doesn't Final Cut have a record button that just drops your voiceover straight into an audio track? Yeah. Look how Alex is trying to explain my job to me. Like, who do you think would know better about this?
Explain his job to him.
Yeah, Alex, what is it you do? Something with, like, 3D... You just gotta make a 3D... You do, like, a code? It's easy. It's easy. I made a website once, so your job is real easy. You just gotta, like, open it up. You do, like, a bracket, and then you type in something.
And then close bracket.
Close bracket?
Yeah.
How's programming work? It seems easy. 300 Bits from Will Peters who says, do what funnier? Nothing. 300 from Crusoe says, someone mentioned clown. We do have clowns here. It's an epidemic, but we're doing our best. I don't think Alex actually does anything with like 3D modeling now. I don't think he's had to do anything like
Yeah.
that for a while. But in a lot of past work, he has. I've mentioned it to him before, like, because we were talking a few weeks back about, like, the interactive rides that he's worked on for, like, amusement parks and stuff. And I was like, we need to have Alex on a breakfast stream to talk about that sort of thing, because I think that people would find that really interesting. You gotta do that. I just don't know when. See, the problem is, breakfast stream takes place
Here.
early when
On
people
weekdays.
have a job.
Yeah.
And like Alex has a job. I mean, he's in chat. But presumably he's also at the job. So like, you gotta like find a time. You gotta make sure NDAs have expired. He says, I can't wait for the Almake stream where we make a web API together.
I did watch all of Al Makes.
Did you see it?
I did.
It's out now.
It was really good.
It's out now
I'm
on
very
the,
happy with it.
It's out now on the VOD channel. So folks.
I did highlight it,
Oh, good.
so it's
Also on Twitch.
yes.
Yeah, folks should check it out if they haven't seen it. It's a very memorable thing. Steven made us quit our jobs when we moved here. That is not true. It's not. It's only partially true. It's only partially true. There is some truth to that, but I didn't make anyone do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't make anyone do anything. I just, it's fine. Oh, nice. Chelsea says, I get a work
Congrats.
promotion 2 weeks ago so I can watch Breakfast Stream freely now. Very nice.
Chelsea, I gotta send you something, a photo, later. Remind me.
Where were we? 300 Bits from Crusoe says, pandemic clowning. We do constantly... I actually don't know if we've added to our clown...
I don't think we've added to the clown lately.
We haven't added to the clown lately. That's okay. Eventually, you have to do it when the spirit moves.
Yeah.
And the spirit hasn't moved in a while, so once it does, we'll add more. Little known fact about the Raleigh Collective. That's true. It's a true fact. We do have a single shared bank account. If we want to buy something, we ask Brandon. We have 3 different Aldo. It says, how does programming work? Mostly black magic and prayer.
And Brandon's out of town, so no one can get anything.
Yeah, we're starving. Really hope he comes back soon. We'd like to buy food, but we can't buy anything. Also, I can't read the words black magic and not think about the company Black Magic. We got 6 months from Zero Evil. And 300 Bits from Omega the Kid says, as a programming student, I can double down on that whole black magic and prayer thing. Also, blood sacrifices. I don't recall a lot of blood sacrifices in Alex's work, but maybe I was just not around for that part. Oh, Brandon. Hey. Brandon. Brandon, my family is dying. we need to buy groceries, Brandon. We're so hungry. Please.
Okay.
Oh, thank God. Oh, all right, we're all set.
You
Good.
gotta submit an expense report.
Bagels, $3. Bread, $3. Yeast, $3. Hawaiian rolls, $3. Sorry, we only buy bread products. Candles, 3,000. My family is dying.
Interesting, good to know.
We got 300 Bits from Caruso with Blood Clown. Ah, Blood Clown. I don't think we have had any like super deranged sound effects lately, which is probably good.
Yeah.
They've been mostly what's the word when it's not chaotic, but it's like
Calm, chill.
yeah, that's not the word I was looking for, but that'll
Yeah.
tame maybe. Tame. Things have been tame. Been relatively okay. I'm like somewhat familiar with like the programming process, but I've never had to do a whole lot of that. I got interested in it in like middle and high school doing HTML and CSS.
Yeah.
And then I never extended any further beyond that. Like understanding a little bit from like RPG Maker and then not doing anything else with it. So it's nice to have friends that can do it. Because if I have a programming question, like...
Yes, Chaz or Alex.
I can ask Chaz or Alex or Paul.
Yeah.
Or Brandon. Like, I've got so many people in my life that I'm like, how do? Or if, like, I need something done, like, I can ask for help. So, here's a little fun thing. So, this text up here, this text on when we're doing in a Windows computer, there's a program that we use that does that reads the file and, like, puts the text up here. And we had something for Mac OS, which is how we do mouse streams, because we stream from the MacBook. And for whatever reason, any special characters, the most notable being the accent over the E and the word Pokemon, if there was a special character, it just like wouldn't display. Because it wasn't the same program, it was a completely different program, and I was like, man, what the crap? So like I just asked Alex, I was like, can you make this work? So he just wrote something and was like, here. And he wrote it in AppleScript, and like he had never written anything in AppleScript, but he looked at it and he's like, I can do this, and then he did it in like 30 minutes. And then that's how we got the text to show back up on Mouse Stream. So.
Yeah.
And it was worse. Shai, it was worse than that, because it didn't just remove the leather, it removed all of it. Like if it didn't...
If it had it,
if
like
it
this
had
would have
that,
been fine. But
yeah.
if it had the special character at all, it
then
just
the
wouldn't show
whole
up.
thing just wouldn't show up. So there would be times... So we actually, like, for the first one or two Malmake streams, it was a problem. And then I was like, crap. So I just didn't play any Pokemon music on Mouse Stream, because I knew it was gonna happen. So then we asked Alex, and he's like, oh, I could do it. And then he did it. And then now it works fine. So, so that was good. It's nice to have a, programmer friend. Alex says, it's on my GitHub. I just rewrote somebody else's thing, but fixed it so it wrote the text to file with UTF-8 encoding. Yeah, it was a problem with the type of encoding, because some encoding doesn't support those special characters, which is stupid. But I appreciate it. We had 3 Bits of Genesis who says, speaking as a salaried programmer, I can confirm there are a lot of blood sacrifices involved. That's a general IT thing, actually. There's so much blood? That's a lot of blood. Who were we having a conversation with recently about... Oh, we were talking to Dan in the kitchen yesterday about... Dan said, this loops into IT stuff in a general way, where I think a lot of times IT work, it's not that people don't know things, they do, but if you don't know something, you research it. It's sometimes I think being an IT person is just like correctly knowing how to research things.
Yes. And
Dan was telling a story about how his dad had a problem with the TV. He's like, because Dan was just in Florida recently and visiting family, and his dad was like, Dan, I had a problem with the TV, and I was trying to figure out what was wrong with it, and he's like, I thought about calling you, but then I looked it up and I figured it out. And Dan was like, oh, thank God. And I was like, that's probably the biggest thing, is that for like the generational gap is that our parents or our grandparents or whatever think that we're all so smart. And like, that's not what's happening. We're not smart. We don't have all of this knowledge. Like, I don't know how to fix an LG TV if it's stuck on a thing. I have some vague knowledge of past experiences that can lead me to the answer, but really it's just, I know enough to Google it correctly. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Or you can navigate the menus.
Yeah, and that's you
have some past experience, knowledge of how to get through menus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the big things, is that sometimes the older generation, sometimes our generation, doesn't know how to Google things. They're just like, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I don't know it either. I just know how to find the answer. That's it. So, yeah, that's a hard skill to teach, though.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really...
Like, I was, in Wisconsin, and my dad's like, they're snowbirds, so they're in Florida half the year, and Wisconsin half the year. And he's like, with the Netflix password sharing,
Yeah.
he's like, we can't watch Netflix in Wisconsin because the address is Florida. Mm-hmm. And he's like, this is what happens when I turn it on, and he shows me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm traveling or something about something. I can't remember the other option. And I'm like, well, why don't you just say I'm traveling, because you are traveling.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh. So he clicks it, and then it works just fine.
Oh my god. I want to give an example here, but I don't want to call out my parents, but I will. That one of the things that my mom tends to do, my dad doesn't do this really, because my dad is very like autonomous, like he just figures stuff out.
Yeah.
But my mom sometimes like will be like, she'll call me or she'll send me a text, or she'll be like, there's something on the computer, we don't know what it is, it's the worst thing, the world is ending. Like there's a problem, and the computer won't even work. And I'll be like, okay. And then like I'll log into the computer or whatever and look, and it's just a thing that's like, it says, it's not much text. It's like if you read it, it's just like, hey, this thing, you
should know this.
This your backup like needed to complete or didn't complete or whatever, and we just need you to click OK. Like there's so many times where like it's a simple message, and I'm like, well, did you read it? And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, if you read it, it's like 2 sentences of text. If you read it, it'll tell you what the box means. Like, you can't be afraid of boxes. Like, if you're afraid of boxes, I can't help you. I can't make you not be afraid of things that show up on the computer. Like, that's something I can't. It's true. Vagabond says people are very scared when it comes to... There's an entire subset of people. My mom is one of them.
Also close boxes, and then it'll, like, never pop up again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where a box comes up and it's trying to tell you something, and it's like immediately like exit out or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. Like we probably want to like read. We probably want to read these things. Anyway, yeah. Some of you could probably relate to that. Maybe your parents also do that, where there's something that shows up on their phones, and they're like, what is this? And it's like, well, did you read it? And they're like, no. like they might just restart their phone and be like, a box. Better turn this off. Like, you have to. Yes, Capricorn says the box is something you have to confront properly. Read the message and decide on an action. Correct. Right. You have to start by intaking the information. I'm glad that so many folks can relate to this, because that's I think it's a pretty common thing. I think that's but again, I think largely a generational thing, where if you don't know how to handle it, then you're just like,
My grandma got a phone call that was like trying to tell her that they had her Apple account or something and were holding it hostage or something.
Yeah, like a phishing
attempt. And it was on her landline, which is not tied to her iPad, which goes through my aunt's cell phone plan, because it's the iPad that has a cell phone plan.
Sure.
So she calls me, which is totally fine. I'm the person for her. And she's telling me this, and she's like, I didn't say anything. I hung up the phone and called you. I was like, great. And I mean, she's 94.
Yeah.
She has no idea. And I explained how the landline is not connected to the iPad at all. Like, there's no way for people to, like, put that together.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's what I thought. Thank you for confirming that.
Yeah. That's an entire other subset of things.
Yeah.
And that's always, like, a concern with, like, a less technologically literate group of people. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, my grandma lives in a retirement community. They do classes on, like, getting scam phone calls, like, from people pretending to be your grandkids.
That's really good.
And saying, hey, I'm in jail, send me money, I don't want my parents to know, don't call my parents.
Yeah.
Like, I know she gets classes on that.
That's helpful. I mean, at this point, like I don't answer the telephone.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't.
Yeah.
There's never. And that's what I tell my parents. I'm like, just don't answer the phone. Like, I honestly can't come up with a good reason to answer the phone. Like, if I'm expecting a call, then like, all right. But usually I don't answer the phone. It's pointless. Anyway, where were we? We got 300 Bits of Shy says, I don't know the answer, but I can look it up online. To me, has the same energy as, I'm not a doctor, but I can play one on TV. It is the same energy, but also, it's how you solve problems. Like, I don't think that I could perform surgery by Googling it. That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, when did Haley go to the doctor? Was that, like, last... Right? You didn't need to do that. Just come over here. I can Google it. Like, it's not... Obviously, it depends on the surgery. I've got gloves. It's fine. It doesn't work like that for every situation. But... Yeah, I've watched enough videos of the procedure. I feel confident. No!
I'm not an IT, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
But being able to look up things is helpful. And like that does apply to some other stuff too.
Yeah.
For those that are a little more adventurous, like when there's a problem in the home, you sometimes will be like,
Oh yeah.
You feel confident.
Yeah.
I don't have that confidence.
Triforce House, their landlord messed up the flapper valve on the toilet, and the toilets kept running. They had replaced them. It was the wrong one. I walked over there and I was looking at things, and I was like, okay, this is the one you need to buy to fix it. And they got fixed. Have I ever installed a tile floor? No, but I've watched my parents do it enough, like separately, because they're divorced. I'm like, I could probably install tile. I know the idea behind installing tile.
See, between the two of us, Mao is definitely the one that's way more handy.
I helped my dad hang a door this past week. He had this door that goes outside, down in the basement.
Yeah.
And it was a hollow door on an outside wall in Wisconsin, which is super wild. But he had just kind of blocked it off, like insulated it, and then as they've worked on that house, because they've had it 7 years and they have basically gutted it, like room by room over time. It's kind of the last spot to work on. He had found this very solid wood, a beautiful door. It has these like diamonds on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I did all the frame, I put the hinges on, I just need to hang it. And so I helped him with that to put the pins in and how to get it back. And then he was having trouble with it because it was a little bit tighter than the original door. So we were talking about ways to like fix it to make sure it closed.
Yeah.
And then like we went to Home Depot to buy the thing that you use to drill the hole for the handle, and like I know how to put the handle in the door. And like he had to put the glass back in the door. Like watching my dad do stuff over time around the house has made me confident that I could do a lot of it.
Emil, I want you to hang my door. We had 300 bits from Jay Linebeck. It says, one incident from my time as a network technician that I'll always remember is the time that the internet went down in a large area, and it turns out that the cables ran through an old fishing village and had been chewed to pieces by the very large rat population there. Oh. Yeah, I feel like that is the part that would suck the most for someone doing work like that, because like if it's a problem you can solve at a desk, that's great. Mm-hmm. If it's a problem that requires like running new cable, you're like, crap. Then you have to either, if you're the person running the cable, then that sucks, or if you have to call people out to run the cable. So that's that I feel like that would be the worst. 300 from Squid says, bold of you to assume people read. It's why at work many people press no instead of yes to okay the amount they're paying. Or if they press debit instead of credit. I often wonder how people drive here when they can barely see. Yeah. I mean, and especially like if you're working in a retail situation, you'd get a chance to see that over and over. I think another thing is that if you, I'm just trying to like kind of try and explain this. All of those systems are different.
Yeah.
So like if you went to store A and like yes was on the right, and you were always going to store A and you were tapping right, and then you went to store B and they're swapped, you might instinctively hit no. And that's me being as kind as I can to people. That's me doing my best. 300 for Murmur says, I work at the credit union fraud department and a lot of old people fall for phishing scams. Yeah. It feels endemic.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a very, very large problem. The best thing that you can do is to try and educate the people in your life. Just to be, I mean, for one, just be like, just don't answer the phone. And then also just kind of instill in them that, like, when they answer the phone, the person on the other end, there's no guarantee that it's you. And you can spoof numbers. So, like, your phone can even say, like, this is so-and-so. And it's not. Anyway, the world is terrible. The world is terrible, and there's things that we, like, really need to solve that we haven't solved. So I hope that we... Yeah, Renee says, I love when I get calls from myself.
I got a call from your mom. That was not her.
Yep. So, like, that sort of thing. And, like, generally, if you tell someone, an older generation person, like, if they haven't heard that before, they're like, what? They're like, that's the scariest thing. And I'm like, yes, it is. That's a great reason to, like, just never answer the phone. If you get a call from someone important, then, like, hang up and call them. Like, if your bank is like, we need information, be like, no, I'll call you. I'll call you. We get 3 bits of Twitchy Toe says, I'm worried when AI spam call will be able to emulate a person's voice to trick people. Again, the world is terrible. I don't know what to tell people. Like, technology is amazing, but also increasingly used for the bad. It's exhausting, but you know what's not exhausting? Patreon.com! Thank you, patrons, for your continued support. We appreciate it.
There's our boy. Hello. Hello, sweetheart.
Hi, pal. We've got... Were we getting near the... Yeah, shoot. We're already getting near the end of July. I still have a few responses to do. But the Patreon video's been out now for a bit. We'll get another one out in about a week.
Hello?
Even more to talk about.
Hello, baby. Oh, yes.
Good morning, friend. Did you sleep well? You didn't wake me up. Which is great. I love that. You purring? You purring?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet boy. 300 Bits from Minecrafting Live says, fun fact, if you ask a scammer if their mother knows what they're doing, you can learn lots of brand new colorful vocabulary.
You don't lay down?
Ope. Ope.
Yeah. Oh, he's waiting.
Yeah. Anyway. It's fine. It's fine. Just do your best to keep, I mean, obviously yourself safe, and then those who are a little less educated on the state of the world and what is possible, make sure that you give them education to the best of your ability and warn them about things. And that's the best you can do. That's the best you can do. Anyway, so as we come to a close, let's remind everyone that in 3 hours...
That's enough time for a nap when I slept less than 5.
You keep talking about that. If you need a nap, you can nap.
I'm gonna take one.
3 hours, we'll be playing Pikmin 4. Picking up where we left off on day 3. So looking forward to working on that. And as a reminder, every that's our plan going forward is Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. That is 3 hours from now. We'll be playing Pikmin 4. And we're going to be doing that every week. Because how the heck are we supposed to play Pikmin when we're playing Zelda? It's impossible. Pikmin 2, Reasonable Edition. Dude from Caruso says, another fun fact, if you start talking in another language to a scam caller, they usually immediately hang up. If I know I'm on the phone with someone that I don't want to be on the phone with, I just hang up. I'm like, I don't have time. How long of a stream will each be? The Pikmin, it'll be a normal 3-hour stream. So we'll be streaming from approximately, well, not approximately 1 p.m. Like we almost always are right on time. So from 1 p.m. to approximately 4 p.m. It'll vary a little bit depending on where the days fall, because like we're trying to end like a day of playtime, but like we don't know how that's going to work out. So it could be right at 4, it could be a little early, it could be a little later, but about 1 to 4 o'clock. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited to have dedicated time for both Pikmin and Zelda, so we feel like we can get through them without worrying that one of them has to suffer. Or really, both of them would, right? If we were trying to do it that way. So, yeah. I don't know how long the game is, but I presume it's probably has a little heft, because all the Pikmin games have, aside from the first one, they're all a little bit longer. So, yeah. And then any other things to announce? I don't think so. Thursday will be another breakfast stream, and then Mouse stream. No solo stream this week. As much as I would love to play Hades, because God knows I would love to play it again, I'm skipping that since we're doing Pikmin, and I'm using that time instead to hopefully edit vlogs, which are going to take a while in general, because the next week of vlogs has 2 people's footage, so I need to work on that.
Hi, cutie
And that's it. That's it. I don't have any other things to announce.
Me neither.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. We will see you back here hopefully at 1 p.m. Eastern for Pikmin 4. And, yeah, I don't have any other things to announce. See you then.